Hello, world. Back again. Still February 5th, 2021. Documenting these videos from my car here in Pueblo, Colorado. It's warming up a little bit, but it's still cold in the car right now. But it'll get a little bit warmer here soon. Anyways, my last video ended up, talking about the sexual harassment situation. So, of course, I called up the supervisor. I complained. I went up to the VA in Denver. Meanwhile, I'm not getting any treatment. I'm not going to get into my medical history, but, I require, some treatment, right? And the VA is refusing it, right? Anyway, so the harder I push back on these two tracks against the county and against the VA, right? Basically, the people that are doing these things to me are in Alamosa. Okay? But it branches out because now everybody wants to protect their fellow employees. You see, in the VA and these other government institutions, people are going to start to see what fascism is. I've been trying to tell people for a long time this was coming, because a lot of people have been tolerating this behavior. And, I've pushed back on it in the past, and I've gone to court in the past when I've had to, right? That's how I deal with the situations, and I have a public history of that if people want to really know who I am. Of course, this one here is it's getting to be overwhelming for me, but I'll get to that. Anyway, so, now I don't have health care, right? I'm getting a lot of anxiety now because I'm not getting the county to do what it is that they need to do. They're not making decisions on my property. I'm spending all kinds of extra money that I don't want to spend, okay? Because the money that I was spending to live was supposed to be while I was being productive. But I could only be so productive without the county, because the county's getting in the way. And that's why I had to file the lawsuit. Because I had to, but it's my property. I have rights that could be adjudicated, and I want to be able to drive my car. And just as an update, I'm still sitting in my car here at this property, this place that I'm paying to stay at. And right now I should be in my building with nice wad of cash in my pocket to pursue my art project, and I could last a long time that way to see if I could make something of my art, see if I could make some money with it. So anyways, didn't get to see Jen again. At least that's the way it appeared. What ends up happening is now there's other things going on, right? My property's dead in the water because of the county. I get burglarized, right? And actually, I was burglarized before I met Jen. And that was one of the things I told her. I didn't say it in the earlier video. I'll say it now because it's part of the case. But I was burglarized. I told her about it. I told her I knew who it was. I was like 90-something% sure. She wanted to know what I was going to do. I told her I didn't know. But the cops knew everything, and they don't want to do nothing. Or they don't want to investigate anything. They told me they ain't going to do nothing for me, so, And I don't know what part that played. But, again, everything was out in the open. My position with respect to the burglary, I went to the cops. I know who they are. Listen, I told her, I says, listen, what we talk about here is between me and you. That's what I need. I don't need other people to be speculating on what they think I am or I am not going to do. Because, listen, what these knuckleheads don't understand is they push people over the edge because people know when they're being screwed with, okay? And if you're always poking someone, especially a man, they're going to poke back eventually in some way or fashion. And if they don't have the intellectual acumen to deal with these knuckleheads the way I'm dealing with it, what do you think's going to happen? And eventually, if the government becomes fascist, and they're going to say they're not going to give benefits to white people anymore, right? When really only 7% of the male population is black, they're going to get 100% of the money. They're not going to give it to a white man. I mean, these people are out of their freaking trees, man. But anyways, if that's where it goes, then what? What is this? Now, that's off topic. But anyway, so I was burglarized. Didn't see it coming. Everything I thought was still salvageable. I wanted to go back to Virginia and get more stuff. So I got a storage place in Alamosa. And I was only gone like a couple of days to Virginia and back. It got broke into. But on the way to Virginia, I realized I forgot my laptop in my bag. But I was too far out at that point to turn back. And they took everything I had in there. Not a lot of stuff, but they stole my identity. They stole the other personal documents that I'm not going to say, but it's public record. I say, but you're going to have to work for it. I say what they took from me, and I had to dig myself out of that, right? But anyways. That brought in UPS and Capital One into the case. And I explained how. Because, some people, you just don't understand what they're going to do when they're faced with certain circumstances. Whether they're employed for a company or not. And, when a company wants to just protect their employee at any cost, I mean, whatever. That's how governments become fascist. Because the government is taking over the corporations or they're merging together and using all that power to oppress us. That is what fascism is. Okay, the United States of America and its Constitution and its Bill of Rights is not fascist. We fought the fascists. But anyways, so there's a lot of people in the VA that do not believe in veterans. They don't believe in soldiers, our mission, and they're abusive. And there's a lot of people. That's the whole point of being able to fire these people now. We're not test subjects for you, and this is relevant because what ends up happening is I got a routine, right? I was scouting the San Juan forest see where the animals were, because they're still there, even if it ain't the winter. They're in different spots, but they may higher or lower is irrelevant. They occupy a certain range. So once you know where the range is, and you can pick up, and you can see where predators are, and things like that. Anyway, so, I'm on a certain routine. They don't see all my spots because I could be 20 miles in the forest, but they could see where I'd pull over on some of these. Because, in a national forest, there's bump outs, where you could pull over and go off into the forest by foot, or you could take trails in. So, what ends up happening is I start seeing these VA personnel in the field. I start seeing what I think is Jen in the field. And I document all that, dates, times, and whatever in the court case. I don't want to go through everything. But it started to freak me out. I was like, well, maybe this is serendipitous, but no. It was now becoming they were watching me. I mean, I don't know how else to put it, But that's very hard for someone to prove because they could just say there's something wrong with you. Let's say they want to take you off the street for some reason, or if they, whatever. Who knows what people want to do, or how much money is changing hands, or who your enemies are, or whatever. The world is not as simple as people would like it to be. I'll leave it at that. But in any case, whatever it is, it just keeps snowballing and snowballing. They just keep trying to bury you, and all I can do is document this. So I call up the supervisors. You got people in the field. All right, I can identify at least 4 of these VA persons where they were at the time in the field. And unfortunately for me, you know, the video, some of the time I didn't have my car because my car was getting fixed. Oh no, we don't go out and we don't do field work. I'm like, listen, I'm telling you, you need to tell them that it's freaking me out, and they just need to stop engaging me in the field. Didn't stop. Several times. I mean, some of the in the court case I told them the spots, and I explained it, and I don't want to do all that now. I encourage you to read what I wrote if you're interested, or if it still exists in the future after I'm dead, if anybody ever reads this and really cares. I mean, I'm just nobody anyway, so in the scheme of things. But anyway, so a couple of times I'm getting picked up over by Subaru. You know, somebody's saying where I'm going. I got appointments, and Jen's showing up at my appointments at the bank, just standing there not looking at me. I mean, just looking at me, not saying anything. Like, they want to see if I can recognize her or whatever. And I'm not saying anything, you know. So I put out a couple of videos. That one, My Soul Must Weep. That was my way at that point of trying to tell her, you know, goodbye. You know, I only had good intentions. I'm sorry if, you know, whatever. Listen, I can't figure out what people are going to do. I did absolutely nothing wrong. If people are going to fantasize about who I am, that's not my problem. If you think I'm going to play peekaboo with you, I'm not 7, 8 years old. I'm a grown man. You know, if you don't think I could do my business, then, you know, don't say I'm something I'm not. You know, like, oh, he must be gay or this or whatever. Listen, I've heard it all, ladies. But for some reason, she decided, and I believe that she was being manipulated to engage me. And I don't know why, and she wouldn't say. So you go back and look at my video, My Soul Must Weep. I did an acoustic representation there. And then before that, and I also told the nurse there to have her look at it, you know, because I wanted to make sure that she backed off, because, listen, I'm doing dangerous shit out here in the field. Weather's not going to be getting good. You know, I don't know. And that became relevant. You cannot tell people what to do. I cannot sit there. It's taken me long enough, and I ain't even getting into the whole story, right? I mean, I'm just trying to put these videos out. I need to get this off my chest at this point and put it somewhere where it's going to be for whatever, you know? Paper can be ripped up, whatever. October, I had to get my car back, get some snow tires on my car. I plan on going up to the mountain because there's going to be this little storm coming in. You know, that's the thing about Colorado. You know, the weather could be different 100 miles away. You could be in a total whiteout blizzard condition and then be in like 50-degree weather and sunny. So you have to understand all these things. So I know what I'm doing. And I've been survival training. I have everything. I only had a roll that night, so I was going to test the roll, but I had radar and all this other stuff. She's at Subaru with this other man. I explained it all in the case, and they're just looking at me, and I'm like, this is weird. I mean, is this like some kind of mind screw or something? I'm supposed to like... Listen, I already said what I had to say. If you have something you want to say, you need to articulate it. I don't understand why you expect me to put up some kind of recognition or I don't get it. This guy's manipulating you. Who is he? You know, this is what I'm thinking of, but I'm not doing anything. You know, I mean, I'm not going to get into everything in my life, but listen, I've been around, man. People are fucking vicious, man. I don't know if this woman's being threatened by the people at the county. I mean, you have to understand all these people have access to her. She's in Alamosa, right? You know, they pick up on these things. This is what other guys do, you know, and I never expected this to happen. When I tried to call her off, you know, I don't know what's going on. But anyway, so I'm on the east side of Monarch Pass. I mean, the west side. You know, I'm not going up. The snow's coming down. Pull over about 6 inches, watching Sunday Night Football. Looking at the radar because I need a spot where it's still got a signal. You don't want to get too deep and not know what's going down. But the snow kept tickling me. It was like I was like right on the edge, and it was getting about 8 inches, pretty close. So I had to pull out of that spot and go to where my radar was telling me it was clear. So I get up top of Monarch Pass. So mind you, I was in my roll at 10. And I got up to Monarch Pass. It was -2. It's cold as shit in October 24th. 25th, 26th. Well, the storm was the night of the 25th. Anyway, so I come down, and I'm up there like 2 o'clock in the morning, -2, you know, having a decent time in my car. My car's performing well. The tires are doing good. I know I can handle this area. No problem. Oh, right? Nobody else on the street. I come down the other side of the mountain. Or the pass, you know. To me, you know, when I say you're close, I mean, close around here is like 50 miles. When, you know, in a car, it's like, you know, boom. It's like, you know, for me, my brain, I guess, you know, I mean, that seems like a long way, but around here, it's not a long way when you're dealing with hundreds of miles, right? So, I'm coming down Monarch Pass, and, you know, before I know it, I'm coming up on Royal Gorge. And to me, it's like I just left the freaking area that I was in. So that morning I might have traveled up, because again, I'm not that I'm more familiar with the road now. But at that time I wasn't as familiar with how those distances were. But I got camera. So I'm coming up on Royal Gorge, and it's a lot of snow on the ground, everything. My car's doing good, right? And I'm seeing these flashing lamps, and I come upon what appear to be two EMS or acting EMS person vehicles, government vehicles with the lights flashing. And as I passed by, there was a white SUV on the side in it wasn't a bump out. It might have appeared to be because it was covered with snow or whatever, but somehow this car, I'll explain that. But anyway, so what happens is as I passed by, it was Jen. And she was dead. Her head was laying on the steering wheel, and her face was looking out the window. And I got it all on tape from my camera. I went back, and it took about 3 minutes for me to realize, well, really, it's like, I think your brain doesn't really want to know what it sees at first. 3 minutes. And I knew what I saw. You see, they had been advancing me before. I don't know, the weather ain't that bad, I mean, at that time of year, because they've been at this since September. Weather was really t-shirt weather. You could crash in your car, wake up in the morning, no problem. But that wasn't going to happen on this night. So I'll pick this up in a minute.